rights and needs of both individuals and in our deliberations, may act wisely and well.
Sorry. Amen.
Thank you, Councillor Sam.
So the minute to go before we can start. A few seconds.
All right, good morning. Can I welcome everyone to today's Council's annual general meeting, which is in hybrid meeting. The meeting will be recorded and will be available for viewing after the meeting. Should the live streaming fails, the meeting will continue and the recording will be available through the Council's website following the conclusion of the meeting. Can I remind members that translation facilities are available and for those standing on Zoom to choose your language of choice. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand physically or by using the raise hand functions. Those attending remotely can use the chat facilities, but please note that we may not be able to monitor the chat during the meetings. All the microphones will be muted until the chair invites you to speak, at which point you will be asked to turn on your mic. If possible, Zoom attendees are required to leave their camera on at all times. Members, can I first start with all praises to God, the most kind and the most merciful. And firstly, I'd like to welcome our newly elected councillors to our first full council meeting. And please remember this face, as I only got a few more minutes left before being the chairman of this council. I'll be probably lost in the crowd here, so remember that. I have so many people to give thanks to, and will be inevitable that I might leave some people out. Therefore, my apologies in advance. I already have two very experienced past councillors with us. Welcome to them as well. I will begin with thanking my wife and my daughter, Nabia, for their support and encourage. My wife, Fatima, and Nabia, they've been very supportive of me over a couple of years. Followed by all the great people of Glenwoods, Conway. Without their support, I would not be here today. Thank you to my fellow councillors who voted for me to be the chairman of this council, which has been a very humble experience for me, and Councillor Ivo Lloyd for his contribution as the vice chairman. To all my supporting team, without whom the Zoom meeting would not have taken place, you know who you are. Special thanks to all the mayors and chairmen of various councils whose event I've been to, and I was hoping to return their compliment by inviting them to my Civic Sunday. But due to the restriction, I couldn't plan it on time. I thought I could have it done on March or April time. Unfortunately, I was advised against it due to the local election, my election. So, colleagues, I have tried my best to serve you all, a resident of this great county, with dignity, honesty, and sincerely. As you all know, I was elected during COVID-19 when things were very difficult and different. It was almost like living in a different planet. Most of us were housebound, and the freedoms of our movement were taken away from us. For the first couple of weeks, we were helpless and were glued to our TV and used our office laptops to find out how our county were dealing with this pandemic. I am proud to say this council, members and officers took the pragmatic approach in working with the Welsh Government, Betsy Cadwallader, and many other organizations, which resulted in setting up Venue Cymru as the emergency hospital and other council-owned locations was used for various activities, such as the vaccination center. I remember receiving email for volunteers to help with the collecting medicine and shopping for our vulnerable people. I signed up without consulting with my family. When they found out, they were naturally worried, but supported my decision. My motto in life is live for today, tomorrow is another day. Any team playing Manchester United on match day is my enemy, but I do have life after game. Likewise, during election time, Plaid Cymru is my party, and the gloves was off. After the election now, we are colleagues, and we should all be working together for the betterment of our communities. Just think for a moment, 151 candidates participated on the county seats this time, and 55 of us was lucky enough to be elected by our respected communities to serve them, which is the greater honor for all of us. For that reason, we must unite and serve our community who bestowed their trust upon us. During my appointment, I remember saying it will be a hard act to follow, as the chairman, former chairman did a sterling job. And I remember Mr. Ian Davis say, I am confident you'll do it your way, Abdul. I think I certainly did that my way, and you all been wonderful. I will treasure those memories for the rest of my life, especially the official opening of Colwyn Bay Pier, the burial of time capsule at Conway Culture Centre, receiving the community awards, and the Commonwealth flag raising. It's been really wonderful time for me, and it's time to hand over. So I thank you all for your support. Move on to the agenda now. So item 1, election of chair. I'd like to know if there's any nomination for the chairman. So I might got Councillor Conway's hand, physical hand. Croiso, can you put the mic on, please? I don't mind you being muted, but just for the public out there.
Okay, thank you, Chair, and can I thank you for all the work you've done in your role as chairman, Abdul. Certainly, your way is about equality, about inclusiveness, and you've certainly done that during your period as the chairman of this council. You've been totally fair with us all, unbiased, and totally committed to the work that you've done. And I remember when you was deputy chair that you worried about how you'd carry out this role. You carried it out and very well, and you should be extremely proud of the way that you've administered your role. Well done, Abdul.
Yeah.
Moving on to nominations for your successor. I would like to nominate Councillor Ivor Lloyd for the role of chair of this council, 22, 23, 23, 24. Ivor, as many of you know, has been a councillor for 7 years. Is it 7 years? 2008, Ivor came on board in the by-election, and since then he's been extremely busy in his role. Ivor was born in Plasnewydd Farm, Llamartyl, fellow farmer, schooled in Conway at the Ysgol Talhern and the Ysgol y Credyn, graduated from Harper Adams University in Engineering, Agriculture and Business, ex-lecturer at Llysfasi College, worked abroad in Durban, South Africa. He's been a community councillor in Llamartyl since 2003, a community councillor since winning the by-election in 2014, and won the 2017 election with 81% of the vote, and the 2022 with 86% of the vote. Quite remarkable. He was married with 2 children, and he lives only a stone throw away from where he was brought up. So Yvonne has also been our member on the Snowdonia National Park, or one of our members, for the last 7 years. He's chaired the LDP working group for the last 4 years at least. So it gives me great pleasure in nominating Yvonne Lloyd for the role of chair of the council 2022-2023.
Thank you, Councillor Conway. You also been my mentor and good friend, so we do have a banter. Can I have a seconder for the nomination? Councillor Aaron?
Dyna ni. Bore da pawb, mae'n bleser cael bod yn y siambr heddiw yma. Da ni fod i glod cyfieithydd?
Yeah.
Would you like me to continue in English? Okay, I'll carry on in English, that's no problem at all. I was just going to say it's very nice to be back in the chamber once again after 2 years on Zoom. And it's nice to see new faces and familiar faces in the chamber once again. I would like to second the proposal to elect Councillor Yvonne Lloyd as Chair of Conway Council. Yvonne has been a member of the council since 2014. Yvonne is a strong voice for the rural area in Conway, and I'm very pleased to support his nomination today. Most of you will know Yvonne as that councillor who sells Christmas trees. And like every good Christmas tree, a council also needs to start at its top. Possibly. Well, I do expect a check in the post for that, Yvonne. But yes, I'm very happy to support his nomination today. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank you, Abdul, for your service as chairman to this council for the last 2 years. It's not been easy having to chair meetings online, especially we hadn't predicted we'd be doing so. But you did us all proud, and you guided us through the last 2 years very swimmingly. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
So you're not disappointing seconding me on my nomination then? Right. Have we any other proposal for that? No? In which case, can you please show of hand for Councillor everyone? Yeah. No, yeah, you can vote for yourself as well. Well, congratulations. We'd like to come over. Don't have to bow.
Seen anyone? Iawn. Diolch yn fawr. Wel, mae hwn yn rhyfedd. Fyswn ni'n cynghori chi gwisgo'ch peth clustia, cos y fyddai fewn ag allan o'r Gymraeg i'r Saesneg. So mae hynny'n jyst yn rhywbeth naturiol yn lle dyn ni'n byw, a mae'n dangos pobl sy'n byw yn ein hardal. Wel, dwi'n teimlo fatha ceiliog mewn tŷ ieir. Dwi'n gwybod beth i'n dweud, ond dwi'n siŵr lle i gychwyn. So, dwi'n meddwl, y job cyntaf fydd ethol isgaderydd. Sgennyn ni enwebiad, os gwelwch yn dda. Chris Cater.
Diolch yn fawr. Yn cyntaf, llongyfarchiadau I chi, Cadeirydd Ifo, congratulations. I'm really pleased you've deserved this role, and I'm sure that you will represent us and our communities really well as Chairman of the Council. I'd like to propose as your Vice Chair, Councillor Sue Shotter. Councillor Sue is a very experienced fellow councillor who's been re-elected many times. She was first elected in a by-election in 2011. Is that right? So I've got that date right. She's a former long-standing popular chairman of Democratic Services, our Democratic Services Committee, and as such, she was member champion for many years and chaired the member development forums. So Sue's very experienced. She has built up significant knowledge about the council. Personally, I found Sue very supportive in my cabinet role during the pandemic emergency when we set up the community support service to relocate our staff to help vulnerable people and shielding people. And I thank you for that, Sue. So Sue is a conscientious, caring councillor, and I'm sure she would do her civic duties and support you thoroughly and effectively. So I'd like to propose Councillor Sue. Thank you.
Sgen I eilydd I Cynghores Sue Shotter?
Thanks very much, Mr. Chairman. I would like to second Councillor Sue Shotter, the Vice Chair. I echo all the words that Councillor Chris Cater has said. And can I say, for the benefit of new members, and it's been said many a time, that Councillor Sue is a very experienced councillor. And I know that she always has a heart and a mind for the benefits of the people of Conway. And she really does. And I can't think of anyone better to support you in your term of office. And I'm sure the pair of you will carry the good name of Conway throughout Wales and beyond. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Diolch yn fawr. Os yna rhywun arall yn cynnig? Wel, dyna fo, felly. Os chi'n dangos yn y ffordd arferol os o'ch dda? Mae hwnna'n unfrydol. Diolch yn fawr iawn chi. Llongyfarchiadau. Ewch chi fyny. Come on down. Oh. Sue eisiau siarad pan mae'n gweithio.
Diolch yn fawr, and can I first congratulate Councillor Evo on becoming chair of the council. You will do an amazing and competent job. And can I also thank everyone that voted for me today. I am sure I will try my best to be second in command as vice chair. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch yn fawr, Sue. Fel heiddiannol, os gen i sian I Sue? Mae eisiau saying that. Sue, would you like to make your way up so you can sign your life away, please? Llongyfarchiadau Sue. Rwan, dyn ni'n symud ymlaen at yr swydd, un o'r swyddi mwyaf pwysica yng Nghonwy. Hynny yw arweinydd y cyngor. Os gennau enwebiadau Gaerdydd. Diolch yn fawr, Julie Fallon. Don't drink that.
She wanted to come here because
Seems to be a few gremlins in the chamber. It has been 2 years in the waiting, so.
Right. So who am I? Chris Cater.
Tonight, Matthew.
Good, step up. Okay, thank you and congratulations to Ivor and Councillor Sue as well, and Chair and Vice Chair of the Council. I know you do a great job. It's my honour today to nominate Councillor Charlie Mccubery for Leader of Conway Council. I've worked closely with Charlie for a number of years and seen firsthand the dedication that he has to Conway Council. And for new members, Councillor Charlie's held a number of positions within the council. Obviously, like the rest of us, he's a ward member and an incredibly proactive ward member for Abergele, working closely in the community, always going above and beyond, especially if it involves rugby, has to be said, but also as a town council, governor of a primary and secondary school. Really important with the changes that are happening in Abergele in terms of schools, so works incredibly hard in the community. And then Councillor Charlie joined the cabinet, where he made an excellent cabinet member originally with housing and regulatory, and with housing working closely with the housing association officers and the community. And then in particular with regulatory, when COVID came along, we were dealing with situations none of us could have ever imagined, and Councillor Charlie stepped up and worked so closely with officers. And I know in terms of Wales, we were sector leading in the approach that we took, and a lot of that was thanks to Charlie. So then we found ourselves in a position where we were in need of a new leader after our former leader, the very competent Councillor Sam Rowlands, was elected to the Senedd, and I'm happy to say that Councillor Charlie stepped forward and did an excellent job of steadying the ship in what has been, for all of us, a really difficult time. Did a fantastic job working closely with everybody, really fair and measured approach. And I guess when you think of qualities of a good leader, there are certain words that spring to mind. A good communicator, which Charlie is an excellent communicator with everybody from all sides politically and with the community. Empathy, confidence, integrity and passion, and I've seen firsthand that Charlie possesses all of these, and that's why today I'm incredibly proud to stand here and nominate him for leader of this great council of Conway County. So diolch.
Diolch yn fawr. Sgynna i rywun i eilio hynny, os gwelwch yn dda? Cynghorydd Austin.
Mae'n gweithio i fi. Magic quality, ynda. Ga i ddechrau llongyfarch cynghorydd Ifor Lloyd i fod yn y gadar, a dwi'n siŵr fyddi di'n gadeirydd Penny Gamp. Fyddai'n falch o weld rhai o'r bethau fe di'n ddweud, rhedeg wyt ti di ddweud am y ceiliog a'r ieir. Faswn i mwy yn mynd debygol o fynd am darw a gwarthag yn ddewn tam o. Ta waith, ga i hefyd diolch i y cyn gadeirydd Abdul Khan. A dwi'n abod Abdul esgus i fethol yma 6 mlynedd yn ôl, ac mae o wedi bod yn gadeirydd Penny Gamp. Mi roedd o'n deg, mi roedd o'n gwrando, mi roedd o'n afwyn efo pawb, ac mae o wedi gwneud y job Penny Gamp. So diolch yn fawr, Abdul. You did a wonderful job, and you might be gone but you won't be forgotten. Gai hefyd longyfarch Sue Shotter. Dwi'n meddwl fydd hi yn is-gadeirydd pen gamp. Felly, ond wysig agwedd, gai eilio yr hyn mae Chris Cater neu Julie Fallon wedi i'w ddweud. A gai ategu yr hyn bod fi yn eilio y cynghorydd Charlie Mccubery fod yn arweinydd. Mae o wedi bod yn arweinydd da. Byddai'n meddwl am neb gwell am y job, heblaw fi wrth gwrs. Mae o'n barod i wrando. O, slow, yna. Mae o'n barod i wrando, a mae hynny'n bwysig mewn arweinydd. Ac hyd yn oed os diom o hyd yn cytuno efo chi, mae o'n barod i gyfaddawdu, a mae hynny hefyd yn bwysig. Ynglŷn â'r busnes, he's a good communicator. Wel, mae Julie yn dallt i acen o lot gwell na fi, mae'n amlwg. Ond un peth na i ddeud amdano fo hefyd ydy, a mae rhaid i ganmol am hyn. Mae o wedi symud i Gymru, mae o wedi gwneud ymdrech gyda'r iaith. Dwi ddim yn disgwyl neb i ddysgu Cymraeg am y iaith hawdda, ond dwi yn meddwl os ydych chi'n gwneud ymdrech i enganu enwau llefydd yn gywir, a mae o yn gwneud hynny, a dwi'n ganmol o am hynny. Dwi'n meddwl bod fi wedi dweud digon o bethau da amdano fo. Ges i ordo, nath o atgoffa fi bod mi oedd o pan yn fengach yn bocsio, so dwi'n mam ddeud dim byd ofnadwy amdano fo. Felly mae'n bleser o'r mwyaf gyda i eilio y cynghorydd Julie Fallon yn bod ni'n penodi Charlie Mccubery yn arweinydd y cyngor hwn. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch yn fawr iawn am y CV ne. Os yna rhywun arall yn cynnig enw arall? Anyone in the metaverse? No. Felly, gewch chi ddangos y ffordd arferol os gwelwch yn dda. Diolch yn fawr. Arwyn erbyn? Wel, unwaith eto, dych chi'n unfrydol. Mr Charlie Mccubery, come on down, the price is right. Diolch yn fawr chi. I was doing so well. So thank you ever so much, Borda. My name is Charlie Mccubery. I'm the ward member. I'm really proud to represent the new amalgamated ward of Pensarn and Pentramar in beautiful Abergele. It is fantastic to see you all here back in the chamber. I went through this process a year ago on Zoom. It's a very surreal experience, sat in a room telling your laptop how wonderful you think you are. So I'm absolutely delighted to be back here. I want to offer my congratulations to my good friend, Conway Lloyd. It's his fault that I ended up being a councillor, so you can blame him if things go badly, but he's been a close friend of mine and he'll do an amazing job, and Councillor Sue as well. She's got the experience and talent, both of them have, to lead this council and represent us at civic functions, which again is really important. So I want to congratulate every single one of you who've been elected or re-elected. It's an honour and a privilege to represent our communities. I haven't had the opportunity to speak to you all, but the new members I have spoke to, there's a common theme. There's a love and a passion and a desire to improve our communities, and that's something we all share, and it should always be at the forefront of our mind. So the poor individuals who were here last year had listened to my biography, and the members of my group who had it on Tuesday night. I will give a bit of background, but I'll try and keep it a bit shorter than I did last time because I think it's important. I'm 55, married to the beautiful Gaynor, who is a child protection social worker. She works for the Wirral Authority in a permanent team. She manages a team of 8 social workers, looking after around 150 looked after children which, as you can imagine, is incredibly challenging. Fortunately, with the price of fuel, she predominantly works at home these days. So we spent the last 2.5 years together working, which has had good bits and bad bits, but suffice to say, she would also like to pass thanks on to her officers for getting me out of the house today and bring me in here. We have 5 children. My oldest girl, Laura, is a pharmacist, 28. She works in Penmaenmawr. My daughter, Kate, it's fair to say she enjoys the university life. She did a degree in history, then a master's degree in history. She's recently qualified as a history teacher, and she started a PhD in, guess what? History. So my stepson, James, did history and politics. He's a master's degree in politics, so that makes for some interesting conversations around the dinner table. And my 2 boys, Connor is 17 and Charlie Bach is 13. They're both students at Arias. Connor's got an exam this afternoon. I very much doubt if he's watching this, but if he is, get back to your studies, son. So the duty, so I joined this, quick bit about me. I grew up in Northern Ireland. 18, I went to Liverpool University. I graduated as a dentist on the 16th of December, 1989, popped home for Christmas. And then on the 3rd of January, I started work in what was LV Dental Practice in the West End of Rill. It was 10 days before my 23rd birthday. So back then, there were no training programs. You just went straight in. I arrived at 8 a.m., new nurse, new surgery, 7 patients in the waiting room. So whilst this kind of thing is quite daunting and quite scary, I have to say it's a bit of a doddle to that first day. 4 years later, I became a partner in the practice. It steadily grew. By the time I left, we had 2 sites, 9 dentists, about 35 staff. We had an NHS contract around £2.5 million. But I'm incredibly proud the whole time we were there, we stayed fully committed to the NHS. Morally, for me, I think it's absolutely vital that people have access to good quality healthcare regardless of their ability to pay. We were able to do that because we worked smarter. When I became a partner, we had just received a 9% fee cut. Now our operating margins was around 30%, so that was really substantial. But I pressed the partners and said, we need to modernize. So we were one of the first practices in North Wales to invest in a fully computerized clinical system. That was a huge amount of money back in 96, 97. But they backed me, and that completely transformed what we were able to do. We'd lost hours and hours of paperwork. We were more efficient. We were able to see more patients, and we were able to generate more revenue. And that is something this council looks to do all the time. We look to modernize. We always need to do more with less. Our biggest asset, as anyone who's run a business or self-employed will know, your staff. You invest heavily in your staff. It's important that they're paid well, but it's more than that. You have to create an environment where they feel valued, where they can work hard. I firmly believe that all of us, everybody, you want to go home at the end of the day at work. So, you know, I had a good day today. And I think this council does that for officers. You know, we offer them support. We train them up. And most of all, you just want them to feel proud to work for this authority. And then you as members, I want you in the 5 years you've been here to feel pride in what we do. So that all changed in 2012. I basically began to lose feeling in the fingers. I got severe wrist pain. So having no feeling in your fingers when you're dangling things around somebody's tonsils isn't a great thing. I was diagnosed with nerve damage caused by fairly severe osteoarthritis, and basically I ended up with a wrist fusion, which finished my dental career. So 44, luckily I financially was okay. I'd always played a lot of rugby, so I always made sure I had insurance, but it left a massive hole in my life. Truth, I'm a bit of a workaholic, so I found that really difficult. Couldn't find meaningful employment. So I decided to set my own business up. I've always been interested in property. So I retrained as a mortgage advisor. I passed the professional exams of the National Association of Estate Agents. And with a friend of mine, I embarked on opening a estate agent. Again, I hadn't got much of a clue how to run a estate agency, but I did know what consumers want. I did know my experiences of it. And that's what the business was tailored to. And, you know, we are the consumers, aren't we? We're representatives of the consumers. So it's up to us to bring that voice to the officers. And I shamelessly stole ideas from everywhere. I went loads of websites. I saw what was good, what was bad. And again, as an authority, we need to constantly look at what we do, and look at other authorities, see if they're doing well and better, and always learn and evolve, never stand still. 2017, I decided to stand for election. I've mentioned his fault, but this man here, Councillor Andrew Wood with the natty shorts, sent me a text, said, Charlie, I think you should stand for council. I think you'd be really good. So I was quite chuffed with that. I've always been involved in the community. I'm chairman of Club Rugby Abergele. I was a school governor. The more I thought about it, I'm really passionate about housing. I could see that the crisis coming, lack of affordable housing for people, rents going up. So I decided to stand, and I was duly elected. And like many of you, you're sort of a bit astonished at first, but I thoroughly enjoyed my time. I was in the backbenches in opposition for 2 years. I was lucky being self-employed. I could balance that work and council requirements, but I really, really enjoyed my time in the backbenches. And I think like everybody, you're amazed at the breadth and depth of work that this council does and the complexities and the difficulties that we face. 2 years later, we had a change of leader. I was asked to take on the portfolio of housing regulatory revenues and benefits. Julia's kindly pointed out some of the stuff they did, but our revenues and benefits team, they're the people who take your money off you every month in your direct debit. They, working with our business team and our IT guys, administered not short of £90 million to our community. Now, Conway was always in the top 2 or 3 in terms of the speed that we got the money out and in terms of the volume. I work really proactively to reach out to business, say that there is money here you can get. Our community groups to work with councillors. So I'm really confident that we did really, really well with that, and that support was vital for our businesses moving forward. The housing team, we overnight, it was everyone in. We got rid of the scourge of street homelessness. Not only did we find places for people to live, but we worked really proactively, giving help and support and therapy. And so many of those, but just changed people's lives. You know, they're now working, they're renting their own properties, and that's something we should be really, really proud of. And they continue to do amazing things. We've had a 300% increase in the homelessness, and these teams and all our teams are something I'm very proud of, and you should be very proud of. So the leadership role, Sam disappeared off to Senate. I got a phone call at 10 o'clock on a Friday night to tell me he was going to be elected. I put myself forward with the support and encouragement of fellow members. I think in public life, if you have talent, then you should back yourself and you should put your hand up. And anyone here who feels they can contribute, you know, do put your hand up. I've done my best. It's up for other people to decide how effective I've been in here. A huge amount of work the leader does is away from here. It's dealing with Welsh Government ministers, WLGA, Welsh Local Government Association, North Wales Leadership Group, Economic Ambition Boards. An awful lot of it goes unseen. It's a really challenging job. The hours are long. There's an awful lot of reading. It can be very stressful at times because I still think it's duly pointed. It's really important that we look after our wards. So I've continued to do all that stuff, but that is stuff I love. Does put pressure on your family, so I have to thank my wife for putting it up with it all, but I enjoy it. You know, it's important work and it's worth it. And yeah, I will always fight for this county. So again, it's up to other people to make their opinion of how well I've done that, but I will work tirelessly and you can always get better. So I always believe you always need to carry work in and trying to learn new things and moving forward. So as leader, your job is to form a stable, strong executive. In doing that, I'm mindful, firstly, of what our electorate have voted for. Secondly, we have a constitution. Now, the constitution asks us to try and get as many political groups together who work so we can recognise the full diversity of this council. We can recognise the the importance of the Welsh language. And really important for me, we can cover every area of this council. There's often been a disconnect between the coast and the rural areas, and we need to make sure that doesn't happen. So I am the leader of the largest independent group, config with 20 members. So I think it's right and proper as leader of that group that I put myself forward as an independent leader for this council. But I'm absolutely delighted after many, many conversations that both the Labour group and the Plaid group have agreed to come into coalition with us. We've had some really, really good conversations. Clearly, I've tried to be open, transparent and fair and give reasons for what I do things. But more important for me, we've had discussions about what we want, what are we going to do for this council. And I see there a real commonality of purpose. And I really believe with openness, honest, hard work, parity of steam that we can achieve good things, but it will be challenging. You know, we know that. But I am prepared to do that. I'm sure the other members are as well. So if, I was going to say if elected, I am elected. I will look to announce our cabinet this afternoon. You will get the opportunity to meet them all next month and they can introduce themselves to you. But fundamentally, we must never forget, whether you're in opposition or whether you support this authority, every single member here has the same electoral mandate as me. Everyone is important and we work best when we work together.
I made a point of my cabinet last time, and I'll do it again, that every member is treated the same. If they have problems in their ward, if they need help, we do it efficiently. And we treat everyone as they should, because there are really important rules for those in opposition. Scrutiny is vitally important, keeps us on the right path, make sure we are doing the right things, sense checks everything we do. So that is what I will aim to do again. We face many, many challenges. I've also mentioned the housing crisis. I believe we have a good strategy in place to try and deal with that, to accelerate the delivery of affordable housing. And that will be a priority for this authority. It is a basic human right to have a safe house. How can we expect our young children to do well at school if they're living in the poor living conditions? The cost of living crisis is self-evident. Every one of us knows people who are really, really struggling. So every single cabinet member has a role to play to make sure that every penny of public money we spend is spent well. And again, we have to do more with less. We need to not overburden our residents, but there is a balance here. Those who suffer the most, those who are struggling the most, are the people who rely on our services. So we often have difficult decisions to make in balancing those two equations. I have shown before that I will, if I have to, make difficult decisions. Whilst this cabinet will work a team, it will be me as leader that takes full and final responsibility for those decisions. There are opportunities, primarily the UK Levelling Up Fund and the Shared Prosperity Fund. Councillor Louise Emery did absolutely amazing work with the Levelling Up Fund that potentially will bring up to £50 million. But it's not, we have to apply for it. We have to work in a scheme that is good enough to get that support. We have to work closely with our local MPs to get their support. And again, I will take on the legacy of what Louise has done and try and push that forward. I think that's right and proper as leader, given its importance, and it also aligns well with the North Wales Growth Deal, corporate joint committees, all those things where I will continue to fight for this council. So in conclusion, members, I thank you for your support. I will need your support moving forward. I'll need your help. We as a council work best when we work together, we work as one. So diolch o galon i chi gyd.
Diolch Arweinydd. I think if you just listen to the tone of his voice, he's passionate about Conway. He's passionate about people in his ward, people under his feet, but he's passionate about every demographic in this county. And anyone watching the news this morning knows that we're in for hard times. So I can't think of a better captain to sail this ship. Diolch Charlie, put yourself up for election again. And thank you everyone for supporting. Right, let's move on to business. Oh, sorry, yeah. Os na gwestiwn, is there any questions? Sorry, I'm new at this. Nagos. So as I said, I'll move on. Item 4. Apologies for absence.
No apologies received, Chair.
Diolch yn fawr. Item 5. Declarations of interest. No, I'll remind you that you must declare any nature of the interest, but there are no interests, so there you go. Item 6, urgent matters. Are you aware of any urgent matters? I'm liking this agenda. Item 7, minutes of the council for the 24th of February this year, pages 4 to 13. Cynghorydd Conway. Diolch yn fawr. Eilydd. Bydd pawb dangos os ych o dda? A eilydd, ie, Cynghorydd Nigel, sorry. A gwneud i gyd dangos os ych o dda, y ffordd arferol. Diolch yn fawr. Yn symud i'r cyngor ar y 3 o mis Mawrth, eleni. Tudalennau 14 i 27. Oes yna rhywun yn codi? Gynnig? Diolch yn fawr. Aaron, oes yna rhywun yn eilio os gwch dda? Diolch yn fawr. Ewch chi ddangos eto yn y ffordd arferol? Diolch o galon. Eitem 8. Fi neu? Fi gynta, iawn. Oce. Di'r cynghorydd Abdul isio ategu? Neu, na fo, diolch yn fawr.
Diolch yn fawr, Chair. Thank you. Can I first congratulate you on your appointment as the chair, and I'm sure you'll do a sterling job. And also Councillor Sue Shorter, who I know for many years now, and I'm sure you'll get great support of her. And also congratulations to our leader, well, existing leader, the appointed leader. Just a couple of announcements, Chair. On Monday, 14th of March, we marked the Commonwealth Day, and I attended Botlanda for the flag raising with the Deputy Lord Lieutenant of Clwyd, our Chief Executive Leader of the Council, and also Councillor Harry was there, along with Councillor Philip Evans and Councillor Stephen, I think, and others, I forgot, but we had a flag raising session on 14th of March, and then followed by my last and final engagement was on 3rd of April, attending Mayor Councillor Alan Hunter's Civic Sunday, which was a memorable day as well. So that's my short announcement. Thank you, Chair.
Diolch, Abdul. Nesa di fi? Fi? O, dyna fo. Oce. Wel, dwi'n cael slot bach. Fyswn ni'n hoffi diolch i chi, fath o cynghorwyr, yr un newydd, croeso i chi, a hefyd i hen ffrindiau sydd yn dod yn dod at si. Mae cefnog eich chi dros y 2 flynedd dwytha, fatha is-gaderydd, a heddiw hefyd i ethol fi fatha cadeirydd. Mae o yn anrhydedd ac yn bleser bod yn gadeirydd ar awdurdod mor dryloyw. Mae pawb yn gweld ni rwan, a dyn ni ddim yn cydeddu'n byd. Mae pawb yn tynnu at ei gilydd, a mae hynny'n bwysig. Fel ni'n sôn o blaen, bore yma, dyn ni'n gwybod bod yna amser caled o'n blaen ni, a mewn undeb a nerth, mae cydweithio yn mynd i helpu ni mynd drwy'r amser caled. A mi fydd yna amser caled o'n blaen ni. So dwi'n gofyn i pob un ohonoch chi cydweithio, a mae hynny hefo'r swyddogion a hefo aelodau. Fel ni'n dweud, mewn undeb a nerth. Mae yna 2 berson sy'n licio diolch sydd yn ddim yma yn nhad Gwyn Lloyd. Yn Haid, Watkin Lloyd. Efo, nes i rioed gyfarfod o, gath o MB am fod yn cynghorydd yr hen, mae rhai pobl yn y siambar ma'n gofio fo, oedd o'n dyn mawr yn Gogledd Cymru. Nes i rioed gyfarfod o, ond mae lot yn gweld fo yn y fi, so dyna fo. Anyway, na i parcio hwnna fyny. Gai ofyn i Iwan, llenwi'r bwlch hon, please. Diolch.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. So a few bits from me. Councillor Abdul Khan, former chairman. As if anybody could forget you, Abdul. I don't think that's going to happen. Abdul, I think you deserve special praise and credit for chairing the council during the most difficult of periods when we were having to meet remotely, the fact that we were learning to live with new technology, and for your 2 years as chair, you chaired the council excellently, having to deal with those extra challenges. So I have great admiration for how you went about it and what you did. So thank you very much. And no, we won't forget you. Can I congratulate Councillor Ivor, Councillor Sue and Councillor Charlie on their appointment. I assure you of my personal support throughout, And I can also assure you of the support of our excellent officers in Conway to help you, between the three of you, steer the ship. Charlie, I thought your presentation was inspired and inspirational. So thank you for that. And we can all get behind that, I know, and we will work together to meet those challenges and take those opportunities that many of us, well, all of you will have seen and you'll be aware of, probably more aware of when you've been meeting members of the public over the last several weeks. So we do have many, many challenges as a council, as our community of Conway, and for our individual people of Conway, but together we will meet those challenges. I'd like to extend a special warm welcome to newly elected members. We have 26 newly elected members on the back of the elections that took place only 2 weeks ago, or not, yeah, 2 weeks ago today. It seems like an age, doesn't it? A lot has happened since then. I'm sure that many of you have learnt a great deal since then through the induction programme, and it's been a real joy for me to hear from you how welcomed you've felt when you've been joining us. That's important to us, because we are one big team that needs to meet these challenges. I do need to thank Sian Branwen and her fabulous elections colleagues for the way that she pulled the elections. The local elections are the most complex that we deal with, because there are dozens of them all taking place at the same time. I get to do the glory bit of the declarations, but the real hard work, the real graft is done by Sian and colleagues, and they are to be commended for that. It's fabulous actually to see so many people in the chamber today. Again, it feels like a fresh start for the council. As a new council, great to see people in person. It is good that we have the hybrid technology working, but I tell you, the number of moving parts that make this hybrid technology work or not are not to be underestimated. Sian and colleagues have been working really, really hard for months and months and months to make this work. And one little bit of a switch gets missed, or inadvertently or by itself switches the other way, and things go wrong. I was going to say it was interesting that to get the microphones to work, you needed somebody from Democratic Services to come and give the magic. That was until it worked for Austin, so it's obviously just luck of the draw. No magic, no magic there. So I'll stop now. But I assure you, councillors, the new council, we will together tackle those challenges and take those opportunities. Diolch o galon a poblwch I chi gyd. Thank you very much, and all the best wishes to you all.
Diolch yn fawr chi. Would the leader like to say anything else? This is an opportunity, or forever hold your peace.
I think I've probably said enough for now. It's time to stop the talk and roll up the sleeves and get on with the work. And I really look forward to working with officers. It's been a pleasure to do so, and I look forward to doing it again. So, diolch, let's get out.
It says here, members of the cabinet now. There aren't any, so you know what. Right, nice to ymlaen I eitem now. Any questions on the council procedure rule number 14.2? Dim byd. Okay, diolch yn fawr. Right, so eitem 10, pwy sy'n cymryd hwn? Democratic Services Committee, Sian, since we don't have the outgoing chair, sorry, here. You're going to cover for that, are you?
Yes,
Yep.
that's absolutely fine. So as council can see, these are the recommendations from the Democratic Services Committee on the 14th of March this year, which seems an age ago. And the consideration was of the IRPW final report. Members will know that there's the basic salary and the senior salaries are set by the IRPW, but council does have a role in determining which committee chairs are paid and whether a civic salary is paid to the chair and vice chair of the council. So the recommendations are there from the Democratic Services, but I would point out that The chair of the Governance and Audit Committee will now be a layperson. So that isn't a senior salary payment, that's covered by another aspect of the IRPW. So the recommendations to council are that senior salaries are paid to the chairs of the Overview and Scrutiny Committees, Planning Committee, Licensing Committee, the Democratic Services Committee. And it is also recommended to council that civic salaries are paid to the chair and the vice chair of the council.
Dyna fo. I'll take that on block. Do I have a proposer, please?
I'll propose, Chair. I'll
I have
propose we take the
Councillor
recommendation.
Abdul, and do I have a seconder, please? Diolch yn fawr, Councillor Sue. And can I have a show of hands, please? And anyone against? Diolch yn fawr, that's carried. So, symud ymlaen I eitem 11. Pwy sy'n cymryd hwn? Rhyn?
Dim ond I nodi yn unig, just a note only, please, Chair. So,
Diolch yn fawr. Gai...
Noted.
Diolch yn fawr. Dangos yn y ffordd arferol, os gwch dda. Diolch yn fawr. A dyma ni'r gwaith. Eitem 12. Item number 12, appointment of council committees 2022 to 2023 and associated matters. Again, Rhyn is going to walk us through this one.
Diolch yn fawr, Cadeirydd. Thank you, Chair. Yes, you will note from the report that this is one of the biggest tasks we've got here today in terms of reappointing committees, their terms of engagement, their size, and that then follows different decisions we have to make. So I think it's really important that we split this up into different sections, because otherwise we'll just get muddled up. So we're going to deal with it one at a time. So the first port of call is the reappointment of the committees and to consider the terms of reference and determine the size of those committees. Now, the size of the committees is, we calculate that on the basis of political balance. So we think how big or small the committee should be in order to achieve a balance, okay? So that's what we've done. And on the information we've got, so everybody's declared which party they belong to now, and on that basis, we're proposing, we have smaller committees of 10, and the bigger committees can be 16 or 18 to achieve political balance. The split will be for the Conway First Independents on the size of 10 for 16-6, Committee of 18-7, Labour 2-3-4, Conservatives 2-3-3, Plaid Cymru 1-2-2, Liberal Democrats 1-1-1, Allied Independents 0-1-1. Okay, and green unaligned because individual members they aren't allocated in the first round. So those are the size of the committees. So in terms of options, you will read in the report, we don't have any option with a smaller committee. 10 is the only one we've got really to achieve a political balance. On the bigger ones, there is an option of 16 or 18. The only thing I would point out with the bigger ones is that planning committee, there are specific issues with planning committee in terms of the legislation. The legislation only allows in multi-member wards, one member of that ward to sit on planning committee. As you have all seen on the count 2 weeks ago, we have numerous multi-member wards now, and that probably will give us a little bit of an issue in terms of people who are able to sit on the planning committee. So my recommendation to you is that 16 probably would be easier to fill, okay? But ultimately, it is a matter for you. We have had an issue in the previous administration where the bigger committees were 19, where it was difficult to fill. And that was a bit with the bigger council. We had more members in the last administration. So it's just something that you need to bear in mind. So that is the first thing you need to consider. So Appendix A shows the terms of reference, which are as per before. The terms of reference of the audit committee has changed. That was confirmed in the last council meeting. So the decision for you now to consider is recommendation 2.1. The council considers the size and terms of reference of the committees listed in Appendix A and recommend any changes before they are reappointed for 22-23. And seats on those committees will be allocated to the various groups according to the political balance requirements which I've explained. Thank you.
So that's the proposal in front of you. Do I have thank you very much. And do I have a seconder, please? Ready proposal, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, like to make the proposal of the size of 16. Reen is quite right. The planning committee was 19 last time, and there were 5 vacancies there. So we were operating with a committee size of 14 anyway. So I think it's only sensible to go for 16. That will still give the groups opportunities to be represented. And I think that should be the committee size across the board for those larger committees. I'd like to propose that, Chair.
Okay. And do I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Harry. So I think, is there an alternative to that? No? Okay, well, we'll vote on that then, please. Can you show? Dyna fo. And anyone against? And that's unanimous. So that's carried at 16, yeah.
And now on to the next recommendation. So one of the council's functions is to appoint members of the democratic services. We'll be asking for nominations, but I think we already have some nominations, don't we, Shan? So if we want to read out for those groups that have nominated already.
So that was my fault, sorry. My headset hit the button again. For Democratic Services Committee, I've received names from the Conservative Group Leader, and they are Harry Saville, Samantha Cotton and Tom Montgomery. From the Common First Independent Group, we've had nominations for Gail Jones, Nigel Smith, Tristan Lewis, Chris Cater, Sean Grady and Sharon Dolman. And then for Plaid Cymru, it's Austin Roberts and Gwenol Ellis.
Diolch, Sian. So I'll hand over to you, Chair, to ask for the other nominations from the group leaders.
I've got a proposer. Sorry, yeah, let's speak.
Diolch. Can I nominate Councillor Trevor Stott, please?
Trevor
For our
Stott.
group. Thank you.
And Councillor Mccubery.
Thanks, Chair, and congratulations to you. I'd like to nominate myself as the Allied Independents nominee for the Democratic Services Committee. Thanks.
Oh, okay, thank you. Llafur, Emily, Councillor Emily.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Cathy, Councillor Mandy and Councillor Chris Brockley.
Okay, I think the bus is full now. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, felly, I'd like you to vote on that breakdown for. Yeah, Geet. Okay, so on block, they're the members that will fill that committee. Can I have a show of hands in support, please? Yep, can I have a show of support? Okay, anyone against? No, so that's a unanimous decision on that one. So
now there are quite a lot of recommendations, so it'll take a bit of time. So bear with me. So the next one is 2.3. Now we know the membership of the Democratic Services Committee. We need to appoint a chair. That is a chair which needs appointment by the council, not by the individual committee. So it needs to be, you'll read from 2.3, council appoints a chair of Democratic Services who must be a member, who must not be any member of any political group represented on the executive as required by the Local Government Wales Measure 2011.
So Cyngor Austin.
Diolch yn Mr Cadeirydd. Hoffwn i gynnig fel cadeirydd Pwyllgor Democrataidd y Cynghorydd Trevor Stott Mae o'n cynghorydd sydd yn llawn profiad ac wedi arfer cadeirio sawl pwyllgor gan gynnwys y pwyllgor cynllunio, a mi faswn ni'n teimlo fasa fo'n gwneud cadeirydd penigamp.
Sgynna i eilydd i hynny, please. OK, mae gen i eilydd yn cynghores Sŵsiate. So rwy'n arall yn enwebiad? Cynghores Cheryl.
Thank you very much, Councillor Yvonne. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on your appointment, Councillor Sue and Councillor Charlie, and to say huge thanks to my friend Councillor Abdul for his work over the last few years. For the position of Chair of Democratic Services, I'd like to propose Councillor Harry Saville. He has sat on the committee for at least 5 years. He chaired the task and finish on local government boundary changes. He's incredibly competent, and if you want the right person for the job, I would recommend Councillor Harry. Thank you.
Diolch yn fawr, Cynghorydd Cheryl. Sgynna i eilydd i...
I'd like to second Councillor Harry.
Thank you very much. Anybody else like to speak? No. So we have 2 candidates. So we're now going to a paper vote.
Yes, it's because it's a paid role, it needs to be done by secret ballot. So you will now get a piece of paper. We're going old school today. So it's a piece of paper with and you will have on it candidate A and candidate B. So bear with us for a second. And to be clear, to those members who are remoting in, we will be doing a...
Distaw, please. Go back to distaw, please. Oh, first time, won't be the last.
And for those who are remoting into the meeting, we will be doing a poll on Zoom for you. So that will appear shortly. Okay, thank you.
Sally, if you can hear me, it's Councillor Alan Hunter. Can you resend the poll, please? I've got the first one, but the other one went off the screen. Thank you.
Yeah, Sally, could you resend to me as well, Councillor?
While we have this natural interval, excuse me, don't make me use it. Whilst we have this natural interval, I'd just like to announce that anyone, and me included, anyone that doesn't switch their phone off and the phone goes off, I will be creating a charity. It might be the Eva Lloyd going on holiday charity. No, I'll be choosing a charity, and £10 will have to go into that. Okay, so be warned. That's fair warning. Okay. And that includes you at home. I'm liking that. We have the results. The results are in. Harry Saville, 16 votes. Trevor Stott, 38 votes. So I congratulate Councillor Trevor Stott. Summed line. 2.4. That the council appoints the 8 selected members of the Governance and Audit Committee.
Yes, so in terms of the Audit Committee, as you know, it's a static size for this committee given its change under the legislation. So we have 4 lay members and 8 councillors to sit on the Audit Committee, and those are split into Conway First Independents 3, Labour 2, Conservatives 1, Plaid Cymru 1, Liberal Democrats 1. So, do we have names, Shan?
Yes, I've received names from the Conway First Independent Group, and they are councillors Michael Smith, Andrew Wood and Paul Lecoq. And then I've also received the nomination from the Conservative Group, which is Gareth Jones.
Diolch yn fawr. They're the names before you. Do I have a proposer, please? Sorry.
I think we have one seat on that, if I'm correct. Could I nominate Councillor John Roberts? Diolch yn fawr.
Can indeed. Austin? Austin?
Yn cynrychiolydd ni fydd y cynghorydd Dilwyn Owen. Robert, sorry.
Llafur,
Can I renominate Councillor Angie and Councillor Stephen, please?
A dyna fo. Can I have a proposer, please, for that? Cynghorydd Austin. Eilydd, seconder, please. Cynghorydd Michael. Na fo. And can I have a show of hands, please? A mae hynny'n unfrydol, dwi'n meddwl. That's carried. Thank you very much. 2.5. Standards Committee, yeah?
Diolch, Cadeirydd. Yes, Standards Committee. So as you all may remember, we have 9 members of the Standards Committee, but 3 nominated members from our council. So we're looking for nominations for standards, and they all must be from different political groups. Okay.
Charlie. Diolch, Mr. Cadeirydd. I'd like to nominate Councillor Frank Bradfield on behalf of the Conway First Independent Group. Diolch.
Cynghores Emily.
Let's nominate Councillor David Carr from Labour.
Okay. Cynghores Cheryl. Is there anyone else? Anybody else? So that's it. There won't be a vote on that then. Okay, so can I just have a proposer for those 3, please, on block? Cynghorydd Nigel, diolch yn fawr. Eilydd. Cynghorydd Mr Chris Cater. Spot on. A gai dangos, please. Rwy'n erbyn. Dyna fo. Mae hynny'n unfrydol. Mae Harry eisiau be? Sorry, mae Harry, Cynghorydd Harry, you want to...
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I was just going to ask, could we vote on all 3 candidates individually, as I had concerns about one, but as you've moved straight to a vote on all 3 on block, I'm happy to vote against that, and I'd be happy for that to be recorded. Thanks.
Yes, dim problem. Okay. Okay, so symud I 2.7.
Yes, 2.6. The council notes the arrangements for the appointment of chairs to the Overall Scrutiny Committee by the groups represented on the executive and the opposition in accordance with the provisions of the measure. So that's just for noting. And then 2.7, that the timetable of meetings for the municipal year of 2022-23 attached in Appendix B be approved.
Na I cymryd y ddau na hefyd gilydd, os hynny'n iawn. I'll take them on block as well. So, could I have a nominate? Thank you. Arweinydd, a sa eilydd sgwch dda, Cynghorydd Priestley, a gwnewch chi dangos yn y ffordd arferol sgwch dda. A mae hynny'n daclus, dyna fo yn unfrydol. Os yna rwy'n yn erbyn? Nag oes. A dyna fo. Diolch fawr iawn chi. Wel, diolch i chi am helpio fi trwy'n cyfarfod cyntaf. Thank you for helping me through my first. You have been my first. Thank you very much. I'd like to really thank Abdul for his support and mentoring over the 2 years. It's been a pleasure to work with you, Abdul. And I'd like to thank the officers, the senior leaders, and also you for helping this job be relatively easy. I look forward to working with you, and never be afraid to pick up the phone or send an email. I'll always get back to you. Okay, thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr.
Gai, cyn i ni fynd, gai hefyd groesawu Rhyn ap Gareth ac Amanda Hughes. Dyma'r tro cyntaf, dwi'n meddwl, os dwi'n gywir, iddyn nhw ymddangos yn y cnawd, os liciwch chi, Gerin Bron ni. A mae o'n gnawd reit neis hefyd, gai ddeud. Wel,